In this video, I'm going to share with you my approach to layering and how it differs from what else you see online. Additionally, I'm going to show you how this approach is going to set you up to be a more confident artist that understands color better and doesn't require step-by-step tutorials to create beautiful works of art. Ready? Let's go. In this video, I will be drawing this rose from start to finish. My approach requires starting with a reference that has a really clear light source and shadows on the subject that are easy to identify. So this photo is a much stronger candidate than these photos, which have nice color and interesting shapes, but no clear light source or shadows. After selecting a photo reference, I take some time to look at the color in the shadows, and I describe it to myself. Here I'm using Procreate to actually swatch the colors larger so you can see the colors that exist within the shadows. Obviously, there is a huge variety of colors within the shadows, with some colors ranging more red and some pulling more towards violet. So I look through my colored pencils and pick one color that is pretty close to all of them. For this rose, I'm working with the Holbein colored pencils, and I ended up selecting Azalea, which is a mid-value pink that leans just a tad towards violet. Choosing one color for this rose works because it has one local color, but for this rose, which has more than one local color with petals that are yellow and other petals that are red, I selected two different colors, a lavender and a deep yellow, and these come from the Woomer colored pencil set. Never heard of Woomer colored pencils before? You're not alone. They're new to me too, and they're a $28 set of Amazon pencils that I tested out to see if they were capable of making fine art drawings. If you're interested in the results, check back soon and make sure your notifications are switched on. It's almost impossible to see, but I do have a sketch of my rose done with a really light pink colored pencil. And this includes not only the outline of the rose in each petal, but it also includes the shapes of my shadows. I prefer to do this with colored pencil rather than with graphite because I've noticed that graphite kind of smears and blends into my color and can make a mess. Sometimes I sketch by hand, sometimes I transfer a drawing, which I show how to do in another video that I'll link below, and sometimes I trace a photo. After my sketch is complete, I come in with that selected color pencil and I lightly map in all of the shadows. I do this with smooth, even layers, going in a variety of directions and making sure that my coverage is light but even. So why start with mapping out all of the darkest values when it seems like every other colored pencil artist out there starts with the very lightest color in their set and works in layers from light to dark? Well, this is why. I want my object to take on form and volume as soon as possible, and I want this for you too. And the best way to do that is to simplify down to just the shadow shapes and map them in. There are added benefits to doing this as well. You can work with just one pencil, so you're not worried about color selection early on. You're just worried about how all of the shapes work together and getting your object to be three-dimensional. This also allows you to view your work as a whole rather than working on it piece by piece or being really reliant on tutorials where an instructor tells you which color to pick up next. Compare the rose at this phase of the drawing to this phase of the pair where several colored pencils have been used. No shade at all to Gemma Chambers. She's a fantastic artist and the instructor behind this tutorial. But starting with one color and focusing on the shadow shapes is going to set you up from the very beginning thinking about your subject as a three-dimensional object, which is ultimately going to help you create more form and layer colors more strategically. Begin by looking at your colored pencil set and pulling out all the colors you think you will use. Of course, in this photo reference, I'm going to pull out all of my pinks and light violets, but in the center of that rose, I have some apricots and oranges. So I'm going to pull those out too, as well as a few complementary colors, or those colors that are opposite on the color wheel from the pinks and the purples, which would be more of those gold greens. Although the technical approach that I'm using with small circular strokes in a variety of different directions is very similar to what other colored pencil artists are doing and teaching online, the way that I am using color intuitively is a little bit different. I don't work from big binders of swatches, and I don't have color recipes or a prescriptive way that I go in with color. Rather, it's a lot more responsive. I look at a particular area, I lay down the closest approximation, and then I look back at my reference and I ask myself, Is it right on? Does it need to be darker? Does it need to be lighter? Does it need to be warmer? Does it need to be cooler? And as I continue this internal dialogue, I adjust and add colors accordingly. As I already mentioned, I am working with Holbein pencils, and Holbein makes their very own solvent, which I will be using to blend out this first layer. This solvent is water-based and really unique. So if you're used to odorless mineral spirits, this is gonna be a completely different experience. It moves the pencil around a lot more than traditional OMS. Because I know in advance that this solvent will be part of the process and that there will be another layer of colored pencil over the top of it, it takes some of the pressure of matching colors perfectly off the table. What's important at this stage is getting some material down on the paper and getting enough material so that you can blend it with solvent. This is going to be like a rough draft. It's something that you can respond to in the future layers. And with colored pencil, it's a transparent medium, so the colors underneath do matter a little bit. To a certain extent, they're going to show through. But colored pencil is a much more forgiving and adaptable medium than most people give it credit for. As you continue to layer throughout the process, you're going to be able to continue to adjust and refine and tweak, and you don't need to get everything right or everything perfect from the very beginning. One thing that was a little out of the ordinary for me was that I didn't work on the background until the flower was finished. And that is usually a big no-no for me. I like working on the background and the foreground together so that I can compare my colors and values. But one of the reasons that this happened in this particular piece was I was still making up my mind on what I wanted to do with the background. I ultimately decided to bring in some of the greens and some of the leaves in the image, but to get rid of that building in the background and just use some muted colors. Throughout the entire drawing, I continued to tweak and change and modify the colors in the background, and you'll see that happening. But I did lean into using colors that were in the greens in the leaves and the pinks and purples in the flower. And this allowed that drawing to be really cohesive at the end. To prepare for using the Holbein melts, I'm taping my paper down to my surface, and this is going to keep it from warping. This water-based solvent is going to interact with your paper like watercolor will, and is much different than solvent in that regard. And the first time I used it, I didn't realize that it would make my paper warp so much. So if you are using the solvent in any project, I would strongly recommend that you use it on a watercolor paper, which is what I'm using here, an Arches hot press watercolor paper, and that you tape or secure your paper to a board or your drawing surface in some way. Then I'm working piece by piece and I am blending the colored pencil together. Look at how it moves on the page. It is a lot more painterly than using an OMS, and neither one is better than the other. They just have different effects. So pick the solvent that you want to use for the effect that you want on purpose. I work section by section, and if I build up too much material, I just make sure to clean off my brush on a piece of paper towel. That keeps the colors from blending or getting mixed into other areas of the drawing. Allow your solvent to dry completely before you remove it from your drawing surface or you start applying your second layer. If you've enjoyed this video so far and you've learned something new, I'd love it if you hit the like button. We're now moving into the second phase of this drawing, and this is the more time-consuming part of this process, so I'm going to speed through it pretty quick, but know that this part does take a little bit more time. At this point, my goal is to bring the drawing to the finish line. I'm working on eliminating the white speckle from the page, I'm working on getting my colors exactly where I want them, and I'm working on the surface texture and the surface quality of the paper. While I am doing this, I'm still asking myself the same questions. I'm looking at my drawing and asking, is this area darker or lighter than what I already have and the areas around it? Is it warmer or cooler? Is it more intense or less intense? As you continue to work on colored pencil drawings, you are going to start seeing the world in a completely different way. But when you learn how to see color on your own, it takes a long time. If you want to fast track this process and learn how to see color in a completely new way and get feedback throughout your journey, you're going to want to check out my course, The Color Lab, and all the information that you need is down in the video description below. As I work on this drawing, it is
pretty much piece by piece. I work on a chunk of a petal at a time, but I'm always paying attention to what is happening directly next to that petal. When I work on the petals next to the background, I'm building up the background too, so that the edges and the colors work together. I am interested in how this drawing works ultimately as a whole, so I treat it as a whole from the very beginning with those value layers that map out the shadow shapes. Then I get a really cohesive underlayer before I come in and I work on the refining details. I'm going to talk about one more layering technique as I finish up this piece. But before I do, I want to talk about some of the other huge benefits you'll receive from doing this holistic approach. When you're working on colored pencil drawings this way, you're going to feel more like an artist and less like a technician. Rather than a paint by numbers approach or working on a drawing from left to right like a human printer, you are constantly being responsive. You're being creative and you're developing your problem-solving skills. As your confidence in this approach builds, you're going to be able to effectively depart from your photo reference and make artistic decisions like tweaking the color or the composition so that your drawing is more interesting and transcends the photo. In an effort to keep this video a bit shorter, I won't expand on my layering techniques for creating this out of focus background, but I do have a full tutorial that I'll share at the end of this video where I'll teach you exactly how to create these pleasing out of focus effects. Although most of this drawing is pretty close to the photo, I did have a few moments where I tweaked the color, and the most obvious place where I did this was in the background in the top right corner. I did include some light layers of color that I saw in the original photograph first, but I just used this as a jumping off point. I continued to layer other colors over the top until I created something that felt like it belonged with the flower and the leaves, but that was elevated from the photo. As I layered my colors, again, my approach was very responsive. I would lay down one color and then I'd ask myself if it needed to shift, and if so, how. Then I would lay down another color that would help me get there. As I became more confident with the background color, I began to burnish, which is a layering technique that seals the tooth of the paper and smooths the previous layers of color together. Burnishing is also responsible for giving the drawing that really polished sheen that makes it feel more like a painting and less like a sketch. What do you think of the final piece? I'm planning on opening a print shop soon, and I'm curious if you would like to see this piece available as a fine art print. Let me know down in the comments below, and please leave any thoughts, questions, or insights that you have about this layering process. I'm so excited to connect with you more about layering with colored pencils. Oh, and here's that video about the out of focus backgrounds and a full playlist about everything that you need to know about drawing flowers and botanicals. If you enjoyed this video, you are going to love these resources. See you there.